What is going good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since we've uploaded specifically on the YouTube portion, but I am here to show you all how to effectively play the Trapper, or at least the best way that I can, play the Trapper. So, when starting off, you're not gonna have that many perks when you first start off, because all you're gonna have is Trapper, Wraith, Billy, and Nurse unlocked. So you're not gonna have a lot of wiggle room. So all you're gonna have are the universal perks and these four killers perks to work with. So the best build that I could possibly put together for Trapper with nothing, like all universal, is Sloppy Butcher. What that basically does is applies Hemorrhage and Mangled for 90 seconds when you get hit survivors with your M1. So if you interrupt a survivor healing, their healing progress starts resetting. I run Hex No One Escapes Death because when you're newer, those gens can feel like they're flying off the freaking rail. So it's a good end game perk to have. It's like your second chance to pull the game back. Brutal Strength will allow you to have a little better of a chase mechanic, so that way you don't have to worry about survivors getting a lot of distance when you're dropping a pallet. And Iron Grasp, because it makes your carry on 75% like, the effects of your struggling are reduced by 75%, and the time for them to struggle out is increased by 12. So what that means is if a survivor's running, per se, boil over, it completely negates the effect of boil over. If they don't have boil over, there's no swaying at all, pretty much. But it also increases the time it takes by 12%. So if there's like a scorch hook that's further away that you can't get to, or a survivor just savoed that hook, it's really good because you can make it to where that perk gets some value. So you can get your hook. And for add-on wise, Trapper has a lot of questionable add-ons, like the padded jaws is a meme add-on. But the build that I would suggest running with this build would be the honing stone. So normally when survivors step into your bear trap, they become injured when they get out. But if they free themselves, the honing stone will put them into the dying state. And the iridescent bloody coils. So whenever a bear trap gets disarmed by a healthy survivor, that survivor will become injured. So we're gonna ready up in our game. By the way, my rule 1 for Trapper: always go with the Naughty Bear skin. Because how can you not go with the Naughty Bear skin? Look at him. So, while we load in, so there's a few things when playing the aspect of killer that you need to watch out for. If you get stunned with a pallet, that's gonna reset your bloodlust meter. If you break that pallet, it's gonna reset your bloodlust meter. So it's important to look at pallets and determine, can you eat this pallet and get a hit, or should you try to mind game it? Now, Shack Pallet is one of those pallets that you should never respect. You should get it out of the way as fast as possible, because then you turn that shack into just an open window area. And it's a lot easier for you to work with. So we're going to go in, we're going to run 3 games, and we're going to see how effective these builds are against actual survivors. So this is our universal perk build. So it's supposed to help you in terms of keeping survivors injured while having the capability of chasing them, hooking them effectively, and having that little bit of insurance and peace of mind in case things go south. And it's okay, by the way. If the match goes south, it's okay. Just because you got one hook the whole game does not mean that you cannot get a 4K. I've got many 4Ks with Trapper, mind you, because of NOED. So it's important to keep yourself in the mindset of the survivors. You know, their goal is to survive you. But your goal as the killer is to kill them. So, and when you're playing killer, it's important to look at things from the other side and see what they're doing. By the way, if it's ever like one of those, that's usually a 90% certainty that it's a hatch offering for Shaq. Because survivors don't really run secret offerings unless it's a hatch offering or unless they're in a 4-man Swift. But usually if they're in a 4-man, it'll be 2 people running it. Now, playing Trapper is like one of those killers where it's just like, he's kind of map dependent. So you just gotta watch where you're placing your traps. Now, when we spawn in, you'll see, like, this map is kind of terrible. But we probably know they spawned over there. So we're going to want to identify gen situations and set the map up for the best outcome for us. So we see over here that there are gens over here that we could easily defend. So we're going to make that tube inaccessible. Immediately find her. Quick down, mind you. So it's important to remember that we afflicted her with Sloppy Butcher. So her healing is going to take 75% longer to do. So that's not 25. I'm a potato. Forgive me. Always trap your Shack pallet. That's one rule I always like to have is Shack pallet is your most dangerous pallet on the map. So always try to get rid of that. So really playing Trapper, one of the best ways that I like to play Trapper, look at your gen split. Look at your gen split, see what you have, where you have, and trap your 3-gen. Very efficient, because one of the builds that we have, when you do the 3-gen trapping, will just be disgusting. And chase survivors into your trapped areas. Like you see Dwight running over here, running towards the shack. Alright, he's gonna run to that unsafe pallet and make absolutely no distance. Beautiful. And yeah, they're flying through gens right now, but that's why we have it set up the way we do, because we're trapping our 3-gen. So basically what a 3-gen is, chat, is it is an area where survivors will have the most difficult time popping gens. Every time you place a trap, by the way, when you're playing... Oh, that was a good vault. Every time you place a trap, you'll get a little speed boost. So you see how the scratch marks are going out here? We want to immediately chase out here and interrupt this. Forcing her away, pushing her off the unhook. Now that was smart what she just did. So what she just did is drop the pallet on top of my trap. And that's why you don't do that. By the way, we can contest this. She's gonna automatically be put into the dying state. They instantly knew what we were doing. That was a beautifully crafted plan. So they have to disarm that now if they want to get the gen. They have to disarm it. But that's not even part of our 3 gen. Our 3 gen is over there. Nice. So it's important to note that was not my... Okay, so they disarmed Shaq, but Dwight got injured as a result. So she's going for the vault over here. She's not sticking with it, which is a little odd. That was short. Bloodlust. Beautiful bloodlust right there. Watch out for pallet suction too, specifically, because that's very dangerous. If a survivor goes down on a pallet, usually if you see survivors running away, always try to hezi that. Okay, so they disarmed it, yep. And now they've set up our trap. Now we have a 3 gen. And this survivor's dead on hook. We're gonna leave the 3 gen area for now. And get her out. This will be the hardest situation, by the way, when you have one survivor out. 3 gen situations can be the most difficult situation between survivors and be a big life or death situation. So they're double resetting here. Only one of them got resetted, but we did reset the shack. Yeah, we don't swing at that. Swinging at that gives up precious distance that we need. We didn't fall for Dwight's vault fake over there. Hit him out of the pallet. Don't ever pick up on a pallet. That's called a firecracker, and that's called a saboteur. Good try. Well, like I said, the 3 gen situations are the most deadly situation. So now, Fang is in a bad spot here. Fang has to be the one to take chase here, and we will. We'll commit for a chase. Beautiful. So, once you force them into 3 gen situations like this and have a survivor out, survivors start making the obvious mistakes, and now what can Dwight do? Dwight has to run back in for the save on Ada, which Dwight will get safely. We'll down Dwight, hook Dwight, get him out. And now what's Ada gonna do? She's gonna run in and save the Fang. Oh, what we with. It's really good, mind you, as well. Put survivors in deep wound. Do not ever underestimate the power of putting a survivor into deep wound. And make sure you follow the scratchies, because you see she's running over here. So we're going to cut around through here. Oh, she ran upward. Nice. She is playing, like, top-tier mind games. But that only goes out one area. And that's why following the scratch marks are so important. Now, mind you, we have Iron Grasp, by the way. So we are going to take her... Mind you, the sacrifice progress takes about 10 seconds. Yep. Always. 95% of the time, hatch spawns, if it's secret, will always be there. Now, Fang has a decision to make. If she went to the right gate, she gets out. If she did not... Because I don't really even need another trap, because she has to disarm that one to get out. And the 4%'s gonna come in clutch here. You see how she's on the gate? She has nowhere to go. Oh. Obviously, got her. Short swing at that.
Don't stop until they're dead, Naughty.
Beautiful work. But that's why it's important to pay attention to your gen placement and your trap placement, because this is not a good map for Trapper. You see, we only got one survivor that game stuck in a trap because it's open, it's bright, and I'm glad we brought, see, and that's why we brought Iron Grass. Look at that. Breakout, Saboteur means absolutely nothing, because we had Iron Grass countering the the 25% wiggle speed. So it means nothing when it's increased by 75% for the struggle and the 20% for grass. Beautiful. Now, I did not mean to put the F. I meant to put Chi-Chi and I fat fingered and pushed F. No.
Oh my, is it time for a game?
Alright. But that right there was just like your basic strat. That's like having no perks. Now, having perks, it's where you can play a little bit more around to be a little more safe. Because then you have Lethal Pursuer, which will reveal the aura of all survivors at the start of the trial for 9 seconds. As well as all aura reading will be increased by 2, but doesn't really matter because we don't have aura reading, but other than lethal, it just shows you where they spawn, so it shows you where to start setting up. Corrupt Intervention will stop them from popping 4 or 5 gens before you get your first freaking down, so it's actually a good perk to have. And it is kind of a double-edged sword, in my opinion, for Trapper, because it forces the survivors that are away from you to come to you. So it gives you less time to prepare, but still enough time to set up a trap or two. Enduring will make it to where you don't have to respect pallets as much, because it reduces your stun by 50%. And No Way Out's a good perk when you start securing your downs, because that will block their interaction for the switch for a base kit of 12 seconds, and then an additional 12 seconds for every token you have. So it'll block the switch for 60 seconds, as well as giving you a loud noise notification, so it lets you know where they're at. And we're running the wax bricks, so survivors caught in our traps will take 33% to get out normally by themselves, or are being rescued by other survivors. And the fastening tools increases our setting speed by 50% so we can get back in the action, as well as increasing that time further by 25%. So it is I believe, a 58% slower. So it gives us more time to catch either the injured survivor off guard or the healthy survivor getting a 2-for-1 injure. So it can be good. It can have its moments. One of the biggest tips about Trapper that I can state is if you get a down by basement, go for the basement. Because survivors will be more paranoid to go down into the basement if it's a Trapper. Or a Hag. Sometimes even a Freddy, because he can just TP back to the gen that's right above you. Especially if he's running Territorial and Purative. But it's just about identifying and watch your scratch marks, because those literally lead you to where survivors are. So if you see your scratch marks just suddenly disappear, then you're gonna have some question. That usually means a survivor started walking. And alright, so Haddonfield's not a bad map. It is, but it's not. You see they spawned over there. So we're immediately trapping there and pushing in. Try to make ourselves unseen by them. It's important to remember that giving up gen pressure for the sake of setting up is important with Trapper. That's why I like Corrupt Intervention, because yeah, it is terrible play. Watch how you set. How you set your traps up is important. Because if your traps are sloppy and there is clear room for survivors to work around your traps, then you're not setting them right. So we know they're over here. Fall fatigue. That's why we should not camp the pallets. Oh, good attempt. Almost got me with that blind. I'll admit, that was cheeky. Alright, she disarmed. Alright, notice how the scratchies didn't go up. Yeah, proxying it. Okay, that blind actually messed me up. That was a beautiful blind on his end. Up. He saw the trap there. He's gonna trade 1 for 1. Oh, he's not. See how long it's taken him? And we just immobilized half the team. And we're gonna do it again, actually, because he doesn't wiggle. No scratchies going that way, so they ran around. Very smart. Alright, we're gonna go take 5 off this gen. So, Haddonfield is one of the more... It's a good map because it's close quarter, but that also turns it into a double-edged sword, because that means that the gens are closer. I would advise against that, Steve. Enduring. Nope, you're gonna real vault it. Now you're gonna fake it. You are gonna run. Okay. See, the stuns don't mean anything anymore. Yeah. Face first into the gen. Or not the gen, the freaking truck. We know he immediately pushed back there. Because he disarmed my trap. And we can actually just watch this side. Yep, that's why traps placement is everything. And now that we have 2 gens left, a golden rule that I like, yeah, and now there's 1. So now everybody's fair game. When you lose this much gen pressure, and I'm actually glad this happened, because, like, when you lose this much gen pressure, everybody, in my opinion, is fair game. Everybody. So the Steve that just got unhooked, he's going on a hook. He is fair game. Because at the end of the day, getting him out could be the difference between winning this game and losing the game. They're disarming a lot of my traps, but they have a teammate gone now. Okay, that's a totem. Which is also why we're running these add-ons. Because now we can play a little more defensively. Because we know where all of them are. Because he's over here. Aurella's on our shoulder. And Meg just disarmed my street trap. And he just stepped in another trap. So we're good. We're chilling. Because in order for her to... Yeah, and we see her. That's what I mean when I say all it takes is one little mishap. One little survivor mishap is all it takes to win a game. And the Meg getting stuck costed her. Big time. Like I said, watch the survivors. Big time. And yeah, hook in the basement when possible. Because what if somebody has Unbreakable? You know? They played well. But respecting pallets is kind of pointless in my opinion with these bigger pallets when you have Enduring. Now these pallets right here, no, I'll eat them because they have both sides are long, so it takes more to get, so I just eat it. Just chew through it. Well played on their end. That was dramaturgy by Steve too. And yeah, that's kind of all it takes. Like, just identifying your traps and having patience. Just because it looks like a game can't be won then, doesn't mean the survivor can't make a mistake to open up the game for you to win. And something y'all might have noticed too is regardless of what setup I'm running, I'll always go and set traps though. Because to me, the most dangerous trapper and the better survivors, the most dangerous trapper is a trapper to have set up. If you guys ever watch some comp videos, they like watch to see who the killer is, and usually they'll wait. They'll wait like 120 seconds if it's corrupt, because one, it lets them see who the killer is. And they'll explore through the map, looking at the tile setup, and they like if it's trapper, somebody will initiate a chase because the most dangerous trapper is a trapper that's had time to set up. And you might say, well, Blaze, what do we identify a short loop and a long loop? What pallets should we know to break or to not break? 50-50 pallets, leave them up. If you can get a hit from standing in the middle on either side, don't leave it. Leave it. That pallet is a false security for survivors to use to make them think that they are safe. Long loops are the ones where a survivor runs around it once, runs around it twice. Bloodlust, they run around and then they fake it, and then they run around again. Those are the ones that you want to get rid of. If a survivor loops you more than, I'd say, 3 times at the same pallet, just get rid of it. Get rid of it, get it out, because that forces them to go to the next tile. And sometimes survivors mess up, because unless they're in a 4-man swift, they lead you sometimes to their team working on gens. I've done it myself, quite a few. So it's important to just watch what they're doing at all times. And you never know. Your job as the killer, I will say this. I'm not a killer main, but I do play a lot of killer. At 5 gens, I don't tunnel people out of 5. My golden, like I said, we can automatically identify that that's a hatch offering for Shack. And there's actually a great way with Trapper too to identify it, because if hatch does pre-spawn on the map, so if I cannot place a trap on the windowless side of Shack, we know that it's at Shack. Interesting map. So now we are running complete gen regression, so try to trap like directly in, not like in the middle on the pallet, because you kind of want to suction them in if they still... Is this worth double trap? No, it's not. Now, is this main building worth trapping 1,000%? Nope, that is a useless trap. And you might say, well, Blame, why is that useless? Because it's useless because we heard somebody scream. Now, you see how Steve's bagging? That's saying to me, Flame, let me go and buy time for my teammate to get the gen. So I will examine this a bit. What is Steve doing? You see how they've had time to set their gens up? Yep. Trap there. Pick there. Dude, he might. Well, no, he won't. Dude. So we have a boilover gamer. So you guys get to see firsthand what Iron Grasp is countering. Oh, look, Steve got himself reset. Like this. Break that. Don't leave that. That is not a good pallet that you want to leave for Steve. You see drama? Didn't scream. Item didn't change. Steve's playing it safe. He's exposed. Damn, the exposed timer ran out on him. We are very interesting. Alright. Drop it. We're not gonna break this. Smart. You see how it keeps bagging, by the way? That is not toxic. That is a survivor telltale sign of please chase me. And he actually made me lose bloodlust, bro. Now who had the last laugh, Steve? We saw Flashy. Yep. I missed Bill. Dang it. Alright, well, Bill's on second. You see this? This is perfect team coordination. Fake that. Oh, I caught you. I caught you slacking. New gen progress BT Dubs is about to be at 0. And they're all resetting, by the way. Alright, we're going for her. She's injured. We will hit you and get you out of my hair. We have a setup trap over here. Okay. She wasted so much time that she could have been using. Now what's your plan? Yeah, great plan. Really? Dude, I'm so upset that I picked that up, but it's fine. And now we know this gen is the highest progress gen on the map. Oh, you're running Shaq. Yes, he did. Bake it. Send the idiots immediately. Beautiful. We should have probably committed for Bill, because Bill's dead on hook, but Bill was taking me away from the gens, and he's going down. No, he's not. He had dead art. Nice search value. Steven here. It's the only gen. No, no, it's not. Yep. So let me go for you when she's injured and working on a gen. Okay, yeah, staying at a 50-50 pallet is not your best situation. Dude, okay. The fact that she made that the best. I'm sorry, what? I might actually be cooked this game. I don't even think the best thing game in the world. We're not giving an inch. Oh, dude, we did. I was like, we're not gonna give him time to run. Quick and quiet. Oh, I wish that would have hit him. Dude, okay. This is GG's. Dude, every time dead hard, bro. Dude! No! They got the gem. Oh, wait. We actually have basement. Look on that hook. Dude, I have no other closer traps. Those two traps are my last defense. Dude, but they played a well game. Yep, Steve stepped in that one willingly. Of course, they made it. I knew it was bait, and I went right. I'm gonna commit for this chase. Well played, Bill. Dude, the boilover might let him live. Dude, boilover can be... She got that with it active? And that's why you don't do that. Dude, I tried to drop her in it. Alright, dude, she gets out, bro. She got out. Damn, man. Well played, Steve. Well played. Alright, is Steve gonna leave? What are you doing, Steve? Steve is saboing the traps. Here's hoping you don't run into a trap, Steve. Iron Grass would have saved our hook, BT Dub, but it's unfortunate. Oh, well played. I was trying to see if we could bait Steve into some altruism. Ugh. Jeez. But yeah, no, it's important to remember not to get triggered over losing a game.
Naughty.
I think that's probably the most important aspect of it, because you're going to lose games, and, you know, people will say interesting things in the endgame chat, but it's important to move on. Honing Stone is one of Trapper's best add-ons, I will state that. Now, Eerie Stone, that can be a little questionable, because that encourages you not to pick traps up. But overall, Trapper can be a definitely fun killer to play. So if you all enjoyed that, make sure you consider dropping a follow. And I will be back next week for a how to play Billy guide. So make sure you all enjoyed that, and I'll see you all then. Thank you, and everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. Ciao for now, guys.